Okay, so we're going to have a look at some practical things with the Kiwitech drag trough. Kind of things you want to do when you first get the trough, or for any sort of maintenance repairs as you go along. So the trough's upside down. That's the trough lead. That's going into the valve, and that fitting really is the same as the fittings you've seen in some of the earlier videos. It's basically an end-of-line hydrant with just the hydrant parts missing. It's screwed into the base of the trough. So the cone, the collet, the O-ring is all the same as in a standard valve. And so in this case, if you want to remove this pipe lead, well, we should be able to push in, make a turn to the left and pull back. You'll see in this case we've got this anti-release tab. We just see the tip of there. So remember from the earlier video, that tab is there to make sure this can't be accidentally released when you're towing it along the paddock. So to release this fitting, we're going to need to grab a wrench and unscrew it from the unscrew the cone from the T so that we can get this pipe out. So we've got a pipe wrench, and there's enough space in there to work it. So we're going to rotate that and keep turning the trough lead at the same time. And that's going to come away. There we go. So there's our O-ring, and now to get rid of this collet, we're going to have to corkscrew it back off the pipe. Okay, there it is. And you see, how much force this pipe has been put under by dragging it. You see the elongation of the pipe there. And so before we put this pipe back in again, it'll be sensible to cut off this rough piece and to use a fresh piece of pipe for the next connection. So if we wanted to remove the valve itself, it's going to be easier, so we put that cone back on. Give it a bit more leverage. We're going to unscrew this in that fashion. There, I'll make sure the cone is all the way forward so it can rotate in the gap. There we are. We get rid of the piece of cord we were using to tow the trough with. You can see how that was positioned right around the base. And you see in the bottom of the trough there is the valve. So if you work that one side to side, that's going to come out. So maybe you want to remove the valve if the trough is weeping, has got a slow leak. Again, it's to check this sealing surface for any chips or for anything stuck in place. And this valve, you'll see, is exactly the same as the valve in any of the hydrants. There's one valve for all of the troughs, one valve for the fittings. So if you had a leaking trough but you had a spare hydrant, you could borrow the valve from the hydrant, use for the trough, just to keep you going. So it's a really good system. You don't need many spare parts around to have. Okay, so we'll put that one back in again. And when we put it in, it's important to make sure it's sat square on the base of the trough. So to do that, just give it a firm press with the flat of your hand, and just check that it's sat in place. It's not leaning one side or the other. We'll then take our fitting, and when you get your if your trough doesn't arrive assembled and you've got to put this one in yourself, then the thread and the way the ends are arranged is allowed so that you can put it in any way you like, start it anywhere, and when it gets tight, it will line up through the centre of the trough. Okay, so there you are. So now it's in position. We'll take that cone off, drop in our collet, and make sure it's lined up with the lugs. Push the O-ring in the back, just gently. Get it started on the thread. After 2 or 3 turns, check that that collet will move, and then wind it all the way in, check the collet again, and give it a tighten with a wrench. They are important, these are really tight. There you are, we'll check the other end as well. Excellent. So now we've got a trough lead. Again, we said the end was a bit burred. We're going to snip that clean before we use it. So again, using a pair of pipe cutters to get a nice square cut. Okay, so we don't want to over insert the pipe because that's going to stop the valve from opening. And so you put your finger inside the fitting, you'll feel there's a lug which sits about here, and that's really about 2 to 2.5 inches inside the valve. So we're going to mark that on the pipe. And we're going to push the pipe in to the fitting. So we're going to go through the collet, through the O-ring, and then to our mark. We're now going to make a small turn to the right and then pull back. And as we pull back, we're going to give a wriggle, and we see that collet is now starting to grip the pipe. So it's really important this first sealing we make as firm as possible. So we're going to put a foot on the trough and pull back again. And as we pull back, wriggle side to side, and we'll see that collet is continuing to be pulled out. It's getting a real tight grip on this trough lead. Now, it may be useful at this point to have someone to help you, someone to hold the trough still whilst you're pulling on the pipe. Be careful to keep a firm grip on the pipe whilst you're pulling, but it's important to get, at this stage, a really good seal here. So now we've got that fixed in place, and we're happy this is firm. We're going to turn the trough over. As we turn the trough over for the first time, we're going to make sure we turn it anti-clockwise. The reason for that is if we turn it anti-clockwise or to the left, the pipe gets turned to the right and it keeps our tight connection. So turn the trough to the left. There we are. And actually the best thing we can do is to go and connect our trough, foot on the lateral, both hands on the pipe, push in, right, pull back. Okay. So now a couple of things. When the trough's full, we can have a good grip on our pipe. We can pull back again. We can make sure we've got a really tight connection. If we're not going to wait for the trough to fill, then again we can turn the trough to the left and put it upside down. By the trough being upside down, that valve's now under pressure, and so when we pull back now, we've got the water pressure which is helping us to make that good connection. Okay, so with the help of the water pressure, I should be able to get that valve to seal nice and tight. I'm going to put the trough back over again now and let it fill up. So turn the trough over to the left and put it back in position.